I caught something today in Trump's Greenland talk. Listen and see if you hear it.
We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place.
Now look out here on this map. So you don't actually ever see Greenland like this unless you're looking at a globe because it's up high. But you see how it's in between Canada and Russia? Here's what he said about Canada.
They don't have any military protection because and you take a look at what's going on out there. You have Russian ships, you have China ships, you have Chinese ships.
So after he takes Greenland to save them from China and Russia, he will then go after Canada to save them from China and Russia. And then look what he says next.
You know, people are in danger. This is a different world today. It's a different world.
Remember, Trump tells everything before he does it. Believe him.
The future of Greenland and Denmark are decided solely by the people of Denmark. In Greenland, we know that. It's why we cooperate, as I said at the start, and I'll finish here, why we cooperate culturally, why we cooperate economically, and why we cooperate in security. We have a big relationship between Canada and Denmark. Amongst other things, we share a border, a maritime border of 3,000 kilometers, long trading relationship, diplomatic relationship, security relationship, obviously, through NATO, through your presidency also of the Arctic Council.
It's looking like the United States is about to purchase Greenland. That's right, Secretary of State Marco Rubio just told Congress that that's what the United States intends to do. So how much would that cost us? Well, if the United States gave every single person in Greenland $1 million, it would cost us $57 billion. And that would be 1/3 of the cost that the United States has spent on the war in Ukraine. Except in exchange, the United States would own one of the most sought after and strategic locations in the world. It's safe to say that if this happens, we are literally watching the world map be redefined. And this news comes just one day after Greenland's Prime Minister Nielsen said, "We are open for business with the United States." So, are we about to have the United States of Greenland? And how much do you think the purchase price is going to be? And do you support it? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you? They should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down. I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever.
Alright guys, welcome back once again to the channel. Now Canada feels threatened, yes, and for this one, Canada is standing with Greenland. This is after multiple threats from the United States of America and Donald Trump that the US will take over Greenland, or they want to purchase Greenland. Now Canada feels threatened too, because recently Donald Trump has been going around marking countries and saying, I want take this country, I want to take this country. And he's been doing this despite the sovereignty on those countries. For example, he went ahead and confessed that they are taking over Venezuela. Previously, they bombed Venezuela and captured the president of Venezuela. He is now eyeing Greenland and saying he is ready to take over Greenland. And right now, he also confessed he was going to take Cuba, Colombia. He was going to take over Cuba, Colombia, Mexico, Canada, and Panama. And right now, Canadians feel threatened because they don't know what might come next. And they are saying, we stand with Greenland on this one because Greenland is under Denmark, and Denmark is the member of the NATO, and also Canada is an ally of Greenland. So we stand with Greenland because we don't know what will come next. We don't know if after Trump captures Greenland, if we are next. Let's watch what Canadians had to say about these allegations. Then we shall be talking about it.
He's not trolling. He's not kidding. It is becoming increasingly clear that the president is serious about the United States taking Greenland. And the White House just said a short time ago the president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. Utilizing the military on a NATO ally? Now, in case you didn't know, Greenland is a territory of Denmark, a NATO ally, and the United States already has presence in Greenland. We have a military base there, like all the military bases we've established in lots of NATO countries. The base in Greenland was an Air Force base. Now it's a Space Force base. So if we're already there, why does President Trump insist that the United States take Greenland away from Denmark and make it part of the United States? Well, here's what he said about it just a few days ago.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
I think it's helpful to look at a map so you can understand what President Trump is talking about. Obviously, there is Greenland right there, and here is the United States. Now, it's unclear where in this water those Russian and Chinese ships are located, but obviously, in the eyes of President Trump, it's too close for comfort. Now, since we're already operating that Space Force base in Greenland, most military experts say that the Danes and the Greenlanders are willing to work with the United States with any kind of strategic operation the U.S. wants to run. So why take it? It's unclear. It's also unclear what legal rationale Trump could use to justify taking that kind of military action against Greenland. We're not at war with Greenland. Greenland is not a threat to the United States. In fact, it's an ally. Drugs are not coming from Greenland. And if it's such a national security concern, again, the Greenlanders and the Danes are already on our team and they're willing to help us out with whatever military operation we want to run. Now, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has suggested to lawmakers that the United States may be willing to purchase Greenland. But the Greenlanders and the Danes say Greenland is not for sale, and they aren't the only ones talking about this. Today, our other European NATO allies, including the President of France, the Chancellor of Germany, the Prime Ministers of Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom, along with the Prime Minister of Denmark, released this statement directed at President Trump without mentioning his name once. The statement says, Greenland belongs to its people. It is for Denmark and Greenland, and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. They also said that the security of the Arctic is a priority for Europe too, and therefore NATO must collectively work together with the United States to defend that region. Now, interestingly enough, they also added in that letter that NATO, including the United States, has always upheld the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the inviolability of borders. These are universal principles, and we will not stop defending them. Does that mean if Trump moves forward with some kind of military operation to take Greenland over the objection of Denmark, that NATO would defend Greenland against the United States? Or does it mean that NATO would simply no longer exist? Well, the leaders in Denmark say if Trump makes this kind of move, NATO's finished. Look, there are a lot of what-ifs in this story, but it is definitely not out of the realm of possibilities for Trump to do this. Just take his past actions as a guide. The fact is, he said for months he was going to use military action in Venezuela, and he just did it last weekend. For the record, he's been talking about taking Greenland since his inauguration.
Can you rule out that the U.S. is ever going to try to take Greenland by force?
How about no? Not just a no with a side of, you know what, I'm going to act like the timing of this affects the relevance of the question.
So I know you're treating this as breaking news.
But your wife posted that like hours after the Venezuela operation.
No, but
that's why it's newly relevant.
I mean, his wife posted that right after the American military had gone in and captured Maduro and taken over Venezuela.
The United States should be the nation that has Greenland. Greenland should be part of the United States. Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States. The United States should have Greenland.
So again, the question was, will you rule out using military force to get Greenland? And this guy's answer is, we want Greenland, we want Greenland, we want Greenland. We think we should have Greenland, and we want Greenland.
Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland.
We want Greenland, and nobody's going to stop us. In response to this, leaders from France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, UK, and Denmark got together and issued a joint statement saying, hey, what happens to Greenland isn't up to the Americans. It's up to the people from Greenland and Denmark, and only the people from Greenland and Denmark. Now it's time for my opinion, and my opinion is these guys aren't going to give a shit that they're being told that Greenland is off limits. They're just going to keep repeating how much they want it and how much they need it. And personally, I believe that should be concern for everybody living in this hemisphere.
What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state.
As usual, tell me if you disagree.
Let me reiterate what I said to Mr. Noel, which is that the future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for Denmark exclusively. It's their decision. Secondly, from a NATO context, the way I would frame it is that the western flank of NATO, which would include Greenland, the Arctic, is, given the evolving threat environment, is an area that we as NATO, Canada obviously importantly, given our geography, need to invest more in. This is a point that we've been making in recent years and since I became Prime Minister that we've really stressed. And with our build-up, that's just beginning of our military capabilities, we are making heavy investments in the Arctic. We'll be working with our Nordic partners. We'll be working through NATO. This is one of the issues I'll be discussing with the Secretary General as part of an ongoing discussion with him around this to further advance it.
Stephen Miller, who is a senior advisor to President Trump, has refused to rule out military force in the annexation of Greenland. Does that trouble you?
Well, I didn't see the specific comments that Mr. Miller may have made. Look, take a step back. We're partners in NATO. It is a mutual defense alliance. We can provide that security. And when we look at a couple basic, there's basic principles here, which is self-determination of nations, sovereignty, territorial integrity. And then there is approaches that we have as partners to what we're trying to accomplish. And as NATO, we can provide security for all of NATO, Greenland included. And as the threat environment is changing, we're making the investments in order to do that, and we can operationalize and augment and build additional plans to do that. So, and that's what we will do. And we stand with Denmark, we stand with Greenland. Our closest partnership is with the United States, and we'll work with everybody to make sure that we move forward together. Thank you very much.
All people with a brain must agree that if he helps himself to NATO territory, NATO-supported territory, and NATO is unable to resist, then NATO is over. What does that mean? If he wants to do it, there's nothing we can do. What is the likelihood of German, French and British troops turning up in Greenland and taking aim at Americans. If there is not international law, if there are not rules-based institutions, if there are not supranational security, then there is nothing. There is simply Genghis Khan. There is Hitler. There is Stalin. There are simply leaders driven entirely by rapacious greed and territorial ambition. Here's what's going to happen, probably. A build-up of troops on Greenland, starting at the base that they currently have, where the United States flag flies currently alongside the Danish flag. At some point, the Danish flag comes down. The number of troops on Greenland becomes close to the number of people living there. And at some point on that graph, it will be too late to do anything about it. It pains me to say to you, I think we're probably looking that prospect squarely in the face.
Take your hands off Greenland, Donald Trump. If you make aspirations to steal Greenland from the EU and Denmark in the middle of the night with your cowardly acts as you have done in Venezuela, you will face the full consequences of international law. Is that clear, Donald Trump? United States. You cannot go around stealing countries in the night. We will not allow this. And may I remind you, we also have a very powerful military in the EU, and if you force our hand, as you are doing now, we will unleash the full potential of the German army once more, which is not something that you want us to do, believe you me. We are supposed to be allies. We are defending Ukraine together. And now you're going to take us in the back over an island which belongs to us because of the oil? We will share the oil with you. We will share it if you ask. But no. You say you will steal from us. Take food from our plate. Your brothers? You are making a grave mistake for the whole world. A grave mistake.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland have been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, fuck off.
Now, as you can see, Canada is saying in their best interest that Donald Trump hands off Greenland, because the Greenland is being run by Denmark, and we believe they know their course. They should do whatever they want to do with their country. Leave your hands, or don't dip your hands into Greenland's affairs. We, the Arctic, we are against this, and we stand with Greenland. But literally, you know, among the countries that are under Trump's threats of being taken over by the United States are including Canada, because you all know, as a reminder, it's Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, Panama, Canada, and Greenland. Yeah, this man literally says that I want. Now, on the past years, he's been saying that he wants Canada to be part of the United States. He wants something called the United States of Canada, and he wants to take over Canada too. Do you think, guys, Canadians are saying, or let's not say Canadians, the Prime Minister of Canada is saying, you stand with Greenland, and Greenland is not for sale? Do you think that the Prime Minister is saying the things you've just heard him say because they feel threatened? Because maybe Trump, when he's done with Greenland, he might literally come after Canada the way he does. Because, guys, you should remember, Trump says a thing, goes on social media, on his true socials, posts it as a joke, but literally, you see, it is exactly what he's doing. I'll give you a recent example. He started claiming that they want the oil in Venezuela. It didn't even go that long. We had some breaking news. Trump, Trump has just kidnapped, or let's say they have taken over a Venezuelan oil tanker, or a Venezuelan ship containing millions and millions of barrels of oil. Some few days later, we've had Donald Trump has bombed some parts of Venezuela. The same day, we've had Donald Trump captured Maduro, and this are some of the things that he literally said we are going to do. Now they are running literally because he confessed that they are running Venezuela. Now, after he is done with Venezuela, he is now targeting Greenland. Maybe Canadians feel threatened. He's done with Venezuela, he's coming out for Greenland. And when he's done with Greenland, we, the Canadians, we share borders with the United States. Are we next? Should we prepare to be called the United States of Canada? Or should we be prepared to be under Donald Trump as our president? Or what is it, guys? Guys, if you're a Canadian, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you guys feel threatened? Do you want Donald Trump to invade your country? Do you stand with Greenland? Do you tell Donald Trump hands off Greenland? Or what are your opinions on this discussion? Because it's a discussion that's not ending anytime soon. Tell me what you think, guys, in the comments.